in that area. You mentioned him already, and I probably should have done this in a different order, but Wendell Moore, 21-year-old, 6'6" forward from Duke, another one of these players who Duke's going to have a lot of guys drafted. 4 or 5 of them probably end up getting drafted in the end. You said that you liked Moore, a little bit more than you liked
a little bit.
Trevor
Just
Keels.
a tad.
It's got a good wingspan, 7-foot wingspan for a 6'6" body. He's decent size there. He shot 41% from 3 and did it on a pretty decent amount of attempts. He averaged almost 4.5 assists in 34 minutes as a wing. Didn't score particularly well with huge usage, but really good true shooting numbers, good three-point shooting, good free throw shooting, good passing, good steal numbers. All those things, the good free throw rate, the good free throw percentage, the good three-point rate, the good passing numbers, the good assist to turnovers, the good steal rate, that all usually translates well into the NBA. So is Moore one of these guys that might end up getting a little bit underrated? Like if he's an early second-round pick, we've seen plenty of early second-round picks become solid NBA players. Like just off the top of my head, Dylan Brooks, Malcolm Brogdon, 2 guys picked at the start of the second round who are starting caliber NBA players. With Moore's Jalen Brunson, is all of those statistical indicators there for Moore suggest that maybe he can be a guy that actually has an NBA career?
I think he could have a career. I think the concern with him, you mentioned it before, he is a classic. He was not good his first year, and he was slightly better his second year, and then just kind of became, once they got kind of overloaded with talent, he was able to actually play well. He is pretty young for his class. He was a little bit younger, and I think he did just have no idea what he was doing because the athleticism is pretty good. Like you said, he's the other concern I have. There's 2 guys I can compare him to who were in the same, well, one was much earlier, who are kind of downside comparisons. For me, the poster child for any guy who shoots well as a senior after shooting poorly is Chandler Hutchison, who shot incredibly as a senior and then just not even in a league where every team is looking for 6-7 guys, he can't get on the floor. And then the other guy, the guy he actually kind of reminds me of is Jacob Evans, who was similarly just like very well-rounded and just didn't work out. I think Wendell is a little bit more explosive of an athlete than a guy like Jacob Evans and is like a really hard-edged kind of like, he just plays really hard, he dives on the floor. So I think he absolutely can stick in the league. I just don't know. I think the question is he a 6th man or is he a 10th man? And like either one of those you could play for in the league for 8-9 years. It's just how effective you really are. And I'm not sure of that with him, but I'm more sure of that. I'm more sure that Keels is not one of those guys than I am Moore. So that's why I have him higher. That's where you get, when you get into the 40s and 50s, especially in a class like this, it becomes less like, how does this guy succeed? And then it's, how does this guy fail? And if you can't think of an obvious reason, then you have to keep him there, I guess, that's my methodology.
Another thing that is interesting to me is, or to think about when the classes are considered weaker, like this one is that players who maybe go back to college in the hopes of being in a weaker class of maybe getting drafted higher is not maybe a red flag, but maybe a little bit of an orange flag. It's like, oh, if I stay around, there's not as many talented guys coming out, so then I'll look a little bit better, or I won't be playing against as many talented players. But the age thing you brought up with him is interesting. He is a junior, so he's played 3 years in college, but he's the age of a sophomore, and he's like 2 years younger than like Keegan Murray. He's not even, he'll turn 21 in the middle of September, which again is basically a usual sophomore type of age. The